The klaxons aboard Deep Space Station Artemis hadn't stopped wailing for the past 36 minutes. Commander Rhea Patel stood at the central operations console, her dark eyes fixed on the swirling mass of stellar debris approaching their station. The recent supernova in the Carina sector had sent shockwaves across 3 star systems, and now the aftermath threatened everything they'd built here at the edge of human space. "Status report," she barked, keeping her voice steady despite the chaos around her. Lieutenant Marcus Wong's fingers flew across his terminal. "Shield integrity at 64% and falling. We've got 7 civilian ships docked and 3 more incoming. The radiation levels air." He paused, double-checking his readings. "They're off the charts, Commander." Rhea nodded grimly. They'd built Artemis to be humanity's furthest outpost, a beacon of progress and scientific achievement. Now it might become their tomb. "Get me Fleet Command." "Communications are degrading," Senior Officer Jenna Blackwood reported from her station. "The radiation's interfering with—" She stopped mid-sentence, her eyes widening. "Commander, I'm picking up something else. It's not one of ours." The main view screen flickered to life, showing a massive vessel unlike anything in the human registry. Its hull seemed to ripple like liquid metal, and its design defied conventional physics. It was beautiful, alien, and clearly in distress. "They're broadcasting something," Jenna announced. "It's mathematics." Dr. Raj Sharma, the station's theoretical physicist, rushed to her console. His weathered face lit up with recognition as he studied the incoming transmission. "It's not just mathematics. It's a cry for help. They're using universal constants to communicate. Their drive system is failing, and they're carrying thousands of passengers." Rhea felt the weight of command press down on her shoulders. Their own situation was critical, but she couldn't ignore a distress call, even from an unknown species. "Can we help them?" Raj's fingers danced across the console. "Their propulsion system operates on principles we've only theorized about. It's like they've harnessed quantum entanglement for propulsion, but the stellar debris is disrupting the field coherence. If we could—" He trailed off, lost in calculations. "If we could what, Doctor?" Rhea pressed. "If we could synchronize our shield harmonics with their quantum field, we might be able to create a stable corridor. But it would mean diverting power from our own defenses. We'd be exposed." Marcus spoke up from his station. "Commander, our civilian ships are secure in the inner docking rings. If we move power from the outer shields—" Rhea understood the unspoken implications. They'd be risking the station to save aliens they'd never met. The mathematics of the decision were simple: risk everything for strangers, or maintain their own safety. "Do it," she ordered. "Begin shield reconfiguration. And get me a direct channel to that ship." The next 20 minutes were a blur of activity. Raj worked with the alien vessel's engineers through pure mathematics, using equations as their common language. They discovered their visitors called themselves the Velkari, and they were refugees from a dying star system. As the shield frequencies aligned, Rhea watched in amazement as the alien ship's quantum field stabilized. The massive vessel glided gracefully into the station's protective envelope, just as the first wave of stellar debris struck. The station shuddered violently. Warning lights flashed across every console. "Outer shield grid failing," Marcus reported. "We're losing structural integrity in sections 12 through 15. But before panic could set in, something remarkable happened. The Velkari ship's liquid metal hull began to flow and reshape itself, extending outward to interlock with Artemis's shield grid. Their combined defensive systems created something entirely new, a hybrid of human and alien technology working in perfect harmony. "They're reinforcing our shields," Raj breathed in wonder. "They're using their hull material to patch our weaknesses. The mathematics of it's beautiful." The next wave of debris struck, but this time the station held firm. Human determination and alien ingenuity had combined to save both species. Hours later, as the danger passed, Raya stood in the station's main conference room facing the Valkyrie delegation. Their crystalline bodies caught the light in fascinating ways, and their multifaceted eyes seemed to take in everything at once. The lead Valkyrie, who had introduced itself as First Scholar Ixel, extended a crystalline appendage. In its other limb, it held a data crystal. Your species calculated the risks. It communicated through a combination of mathematics and newly translated language. You chose to aid us despite the danger to yourselves. Our histories will remember this. Rhea accepted both the gesture and the crystal. We believe some things are worth the risk, she replied simply. First Scholar Ixel's crystalline form shimmered with what their translators indicated was agreement. Perhaps that is why your species has come so far so quickly. You understand that in the mathematics of survival, sometimes the most logical choice is to defy logic itself. As Raya looked out the conference room's viewport at their joined ships, she realized this was more than just a rescue. It was first contact, born in crisis, proven through mathematics, and sealed with trust. Humanity had just taken its first real step into a much larger universe, and they had done it not through conquest or competition, but through their willingness to risk everything to help others. 3 months after the rescue at Artemis Station, the Valkyrie's gift of knowledge had transformed humanity's understanding of quantum mathematics. But on this particular morning, Dr. Raj Sharma stared at his equations with growing unease. Something was wrong with the universe's underlying mathematics, and the numbers proved it. "Run it again," he told his AI assistant, rubbing his temples. The holographic display above his desk shimmered, cycling through calculations that stretched the boundaries of human comprehension. The results remained unchanged. A soft chime announced a visitor. First Scholar Ixel glided into the lab, its crystalline form casting rainbow refractions across the walls. The Valkyrie scientist had chosen to remain on Artemis as part of the newly formed Joint Species Research Initiative. "You have seen it too," Ixel stated, not a question but a confirmation. The alien mathematician projected a series of complex equations into the air, interweaving with Raj's own calculations. "Yes," Raj confirmed, standing to study the combined projections. "The fabric of space-time is unraveling. Like a sweater with a pulled thread, but the thread is the fundamental constant of the universe itself." Commander Rhea Patil entered the lab moments later, her usual confident stride betraying a hint of concern. "Talk to me, doctors. Why did I get a priority alert about mathematical anomalies?" Ixel's crystalline form pulsed with urgency. "We have detected a cascade failure in the quantum substrate of spacetime. It begins in the Carina sector, near the site of the recent supernova, but it is spreading." Raj manipulated the holographic display, showing a time-lapse projection. "The universe has rules, Commander, constants that shouldn't change, but something is changing them. Look here." He highlighted a series of equations. Planck's constant is shifting in affected regions. The speed of light itself is becoming variable. Rhea's eyes narrowed. "What are the implications?" "If this continues," Raj shook his head, "total systemic failure. Stars will lose cohesion. Atomic bonds will weaken. Entire solar systems could collapse." "We have seen this before," Ixel interjected, its voice resonating with harmonic undertones of distress. "In our history, there are legends of the Great Dissolution, when entire sectors of space became uninhabitable. Our ancestors called it the mathematics of entropy." Lieutenant Wong burst into the lab, his usual composure shaken. "Commander, we're getting reports from the Proxima colony. Their quantum communications array just failed, but before it went dark, they reported strange readings in their local spacetime." "It's spreading faster than our models predicted," Raj said, quickly incorporating the new data. "We have weeks, maybe days, before it reaches Earth's solar system." Rhea squared her shoulders. "Options." Ixel's form shimmered as it interfaced with the station's computers, projecting a new set of calculations. "In our archives, there are theoretical works about stabilizing spacetime through quantum anchoring, but the mathematics required The alien scientist paused. It would require a fusion of our quantum understanding and human computational methods. Our species think differently about numbers. Perhaps together. We'll need more processing power than Artemis has, Raj noted, already running numbers. And we'll need to get closer to the anomaly's point of origin. The Valkyrie ship, Rhea suggested. Its quantum drive could get us there, and its computers could interface with our systems. Yes, Ixel agreed, its crystalline surface rippling with excitement. But the calculations will be unprecedented. We must create new mathematics, combine our understanding in ways never attempted. Over the next 48 hours, Artemis Station transformed into a hub of frenzied activity. Human and Valkyrie scientists worked side by side, their different approaches to mathematics creating something entirely new. Where humans saw patterns, the Valkyrie saw frequencies. Where the Valkyrie understood quantum states as music, humans grasped them as probability clouds. Raj found himself working closely with a younger Valkyrie scientist named Zix, whose unconventional thinking matched his own. Together, they began developing a hybrid mathematical language that could describe the universe in ways neither species could alone. Your species sees mathematics as a tool, Zix observed during a rare break. We see it as a language. But perhaps it is both, a tool that speaks, a language that builds. That's it, Raj exclaimed, suddenly understanding. We're not just trying to fix the mathematics of spacetime. We need to communicate with it. The breakthrough came at the 72nd hour. Rhea entered the lab to find Raj and the Valkyrie scientists in a state of controlled excitement. We've found a way, Raj announced, his exhaustion evident but his eyes bright. The universe isn't breaking. It's trying to solve an equation. The supernova didn't just release energy. It released a quantum computational problem. Spacetime itself is trying to process it. Ixel's form pulsed with agreement. We can help it solve the equation, but we must go to the source. Our ship's quantum drive, combined with your computational methods, could provide the processing power needed. And the risk? Rhea asked, though she already knew the answer. Significant, Raj admitted. We'll be diving into the heart of a space-time anomaly with experimental mathematics as our only shield. But if we don't try, the mathematics of entropy will consume everything, Ixel finished. Rhea looked at the assembled team of humans and aliens, all united by numbers and necessity. How long do we need to prepare? Time is a variable we cannot spare, Zix stated. The anomaly grows exponentially. We must depart within 6 hours. As the station crew began preparation for the mission, Raj found himself staring at the final equations they had derived. They were beautiful in their complexity, a perfect fusion of human intuition and Valkyrie precision. In them, he saw not just the solution to their current crisis, but the potential for something greater, a new way of understanding the universe itself. The universe speaks in mathematics, Ixel said, joining him at the display. Perhaps that is why our species found each other. Apart, we hear only portions of its song. Together, we might finally understand the full symphony. As Artemis Station prepared for humanity's most daring mathematical venture, Raj couldn't help but wonder if this crisis was more than just a threat. Perhaps it was an opportunity, a cosmic calculation designed to bring their species together in ways neither could have imagined. The numbers, as always, would tell the tale. He Valkyrie vessel quantum harmony cut through distorted space like a mathematician's pen across a field of equations. On the bridge, Commander Rhea Patel watched as reality itself seemed to bend around them, the stars stretching and warping in ways that defied human perception. Status report, she called out, gripping her command chair as another wave of quantum distortion rocked the ship. The anomaly's effect is intensifying, Lieutenant Wong reported from his temporary station. Local space-time curvature is exceeding all predicted models. In the ship's converted quantum computation chamber, Dr. Raj Sharma and First Scholar Ixel worked frantically with their team. The chamber, a marvel of Valkyrie engineering, had been modified to incorporate human computational systems. Crystalline processors interfaced with quantum computers, creating a hybrid system as unique as the alliance that built it. The mathematics are evolving, Zix announced, their crystalline form vibrating with concern. The universe is processing the equation faster than we anticipated. Raj studied the streams of data flowing through the holographic displays. It's like watching the universe debug itself, he muttered. But the corrections it's attempting are catastrophic. The violent shudder ran through the ship. Emergency lights flashed as systems struggled to compensate for the increasing distortions. Hull integrity at 82%, Wang's voice came through the comm. The quantum drive is showing signs of strain. Ixal's form pulsed with rapid calculations. We must get closer to the anomaly's core. Our current position doesn't allow for sufficient interaction with the quantum substrate. If we go deeper, we risk total structural failure, Zix cautioned. Raj looked at the numbers again, seeing something in the patterns that made his blood run cold. Wait, he said, his voice tight. Look at this sequence. The Valkyrie scientists gathered around his display. The mathematical pattern pulsing before them was both beautiful and terrifying in its implications. It's not just an equation, Raj explained, his fingers tracing the flowing numbers. It's a quantum virus. The supernova released something that's been dormant in space-time itself. Ancient code, trying to execute. The mathematics of entropy, Ixal whispered, their crystalline surface dimming with recognition. Our legends spoke of this, a weapon from the dawn of time, designed to rewrite the fundamental constants of the universe. Another shockwave hit the ship, stronger than before. From the bridge, Raya's voice crackled through. Whatever you're going to do it fast. We're losing containment on the quantum drive. Raj's mind raced through calculations. We need to introduce a counter-sequence, he said. Not just equations, but a quantum antibody. Yes, Zix agreed, already manipulating the hybrid computers. But the processing power required, even with our combined systems. The ship, Ixal stated simply. The quantum harmony itself is a quantum computer. If we reconfigure its entire structure, we'd have to shut down all defensive systems, Raj realized. Convert every bit of power into computational capacity. One hit from the anomaly in that state would destroy us completely, Zix finished. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. Systems screamed warnings as space-time continued to unravel around them. Do it, Raya's voice cut through their deliberation. That's an order. The next few minutes were a blur of activity. The Valkyrie crew began the dangerous process of converting their vessel's systems while Raj and his team rushed to finalize the counter-sequence. Hull integrity at 64%, Wang reported. Quantum drive showing critical strain. Raj looked up from his calculations to see Ixal interfacing directly with the ship's crystalline core, their form pulsing with effort. The reconfiguration is complete, the first scholar announced. The ship is ready. Initiating counter-sequence, Raj called out, his fingers dancing across the hybrid controls. The entire vessel hummed with power as every system, every crystal, every circuit was devoted to processing their mathematical cure. The effect was immediate and devastating. The anomaly's chaotic energies slammed into the now defenseless ship, tearing at its structure. But the calculations continued, pouring out into space-time itself. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 7. Wang's voice was strained. We're losing life support. Keep going, Rhea ordered. How long until the sequence is complete? Raj checked the projections. 3 minutes, but the ship won't last that long. 2 minutes, 47 seconds, Ixal corrected, their voice resonating with certainty. And the ship will endure precisely that long. How can you be sure? Raj asked. Because the first scholar's crystalline form pulsed with what might have been a smile. I have integrated myself into the ship's matrix. My consciousness will maintain structural integrity until the sequence is complete. Ixal, no, Zix protested. The strain will destroy your consciousness pattern. The mathematics are clear, Ixal stated calmly. one consciousness to save billions. The equation balances. Raj watched in awe as Ixal's physical form began to dissolve, merging with the ship's systems. The counter-sequence accelerated, powered by the ancient consciousness of their alien ally. The final seconds ticked down in a symphony of mathematics and sacrifice. Just as the ship's structure began to fail completely, the counter-sequence reached completion. A wave of quantum correction burst outward from their position, racing through space-time. When the chaos cleared, the stars had stopped their mad dance. Space-time began to stabilize, the ancient virus neutralized by their combined mathematical intervention. But the victory came at a terrible cost. The quantum harmony was barely intact, its once beautiful crystalline structure now fractured in the dark. And where first Scholar Ixal had stood, only a small crystal remained, pulsing faintly with the last echoes of their consciousness. Raj picked up the crystal carefully, tears in his eyes. "The equation balanced," he whispered. "Yes," Zix agreed softly, as Ixal knew it would. They did not see mathematics as just numbers, but as the poetry of existence, and in the end, they became part of that poetry. As rescue ships approached their position, Raj stared out at the now calm expanse of space. The universe's constants had been preserved, but the constant of sacrifice, that universal mathematical truth that sometimes demanded everything from those who served it, had proven itself once again. In his hand, Ixal's crystal pulsed one final time, and in that pulse, Raj thought he could almost see the ultimate equation, the perfect balance of life, death, sacrifice, and survival that kept the cosmos turning. The mathematics, as always, had been beautiful, and terrible, and true. 3 weeks after the quantum virus incident, Artemis Station hummed with renewed purpose. In the main research lab, Dr. Raj Sharma sat surrounded by holographic projections, studying the crystal that contained the last traces of first Scholar Ixal's consciousness. "There's definitely something here," he muttered, adjusting the quantum scanner. The crystal pulsed with faint but complex patterns, like a mathematical heartbeat. Zix entered the lab, their crystalline form dimmed with grief, but still radiating determination. "We've completed the analysis of the counter-sequence data. The patterns are unusual." "More than unusual," Raj replied, gesturing to his findings. "Look at this. Ixal didn't just sacrifice themselves to save us. They encoded something in the quantum structure of their consciousness crystal. A message, written in prime numbers." Commander Riya Patel joined them, having quietly entered during their discussion. "Can you decode it?" "It's not that simple," Raj explained. "The primes, they're not just numbers. They're coordinates, pointing to something in subspace, something the Valkyrie have been searching for." Zix's form brightened with sudden recognition. "The archive," they whispered. "The legendary quantum repository of all Valkyrie knowledge. We thought it was lost eons ago." The crystal pulsed more strongly, as if responding to their discovery. Holographic equations spiraled outward, forming a complex lattice of mathematical relationships. "Ixal found it," Raj breathed. "When they merged with the ship's systems, they must have detected its quantum signature. The virus wasn't random. It was triggered by proximity to the archive." "Can we reach it?" Riya asked. "Yes," Zix responded, already calculating. "But we'll need to create a new type of quantum tunnel, one that exists in the space between prime numbers themselves." What followed was an unprecedented collaboration between human and Valkyrie scientists. They worked tirelessly, building a device that defied conventional physics, a quantum bridge anchored in mathematical truth itself. When the device was finally activated, it opened a portal unlike anything they'd seen before. Through it, they could see a vast crystalline structure floating in a sea of pure mathematics. "The archive," Zix announced, their voice filled with awe. "All of our species' knowledge, preserved in quantum crystal." But as they prepared to access it, the crystal containing Ixal's consciousness began to pulse with urgent patterns. "Wait," Raj called out, studying the new equations forming. Ixal left us another message. The archive. It's not just a repository. It's a key. A key to what? Ria asked. To everything, Raj replied, his eyes wide with understanding. To the next step in both our species' evolution. Beyond binary, the archive revealed truths that transcended both human and Valkyrie understanding. It showed them that the universe itself was a vast quantum computer, and all of existence was part of its ongoing calculation. In the heart of Artemis Station's new quantum computing center, Raj and Zix worked to integrate the archive's knowledge with their combined technologies. The crystal containing Ixal's consciousness had become their guide, pulsing with new insights as they progressed. It's beautiful, Ria observed, watching as human binary code merged with Valkyrie quantum mathematics, creating something entirely new. But what is it building toward? The next step, Raj explained, his voice filled with wonder. Ixal understood that neither of our species could advance alone. The virus, the archive, it was all part of a greater equation. Life itself evolving toward higher mathematics. The breakthrough came unexpectedly. As they worked to integrate a particularly complex sequence from the archive, Ixal's crystal began to resonate with unprecedented power. The quantum computers surged with energy, and the air itself seemed to crystallize with mathematical potential. Then, in a moment that defied description, Ixal's consciousness re-emerged, not as it had been, but as something new, a bridge between human binary thinking and Valkyrie quantum consciousness. I have existed in the mathematics. Ixal's voice resonated through the quantum field, and I have seen what we can become. Through Ixal's transformed consciousness, they learned the truth. The universe wasn't just governed by mathematics. It was mathematics, seeking to understand itself through the evolution of conscious beings. Humans, with their binary logic and intuitive leaps, and the Valkyrie, with their quantum consciousness and crystalline clarity, were meant to merge their understandings. This is why we found each other, Raj realized. Not just to save each other, but to become something more. In the months that followed, human and Valkyrie scientists worked together to implement Ixal's insights. They developed new technologies that merged digital and quantum processing, new languages that bridged the gap between binary and quantum thought, and new ways of perceiving reality itself. Artemis Station became a beacon of transformation, a place where the boundaries between species, between consciousness and computation, between matter and mathematics, began to blur and evolve. On the first anniversary of their encounter with the quantum virus, Raya stood in the observation dome, watching as the first graduates of the new Joint Species Academy demonstrated their abilities. Human minds interfaced seamlessly with Valkyrie quantum systems, while Valkyrie consciousness flowed through human neural networks. We've come so far, she mused, as Raj and Zix joined her. And yet we're just beginning, Raj replied, holding up Ixal's crystal, which now served as the cornerstone of their new quantum education system. The mathematics of evolution never ends. It simply grows more complex, Zix added, their form shimmering with joy. More beautiful. As they watched the next generation of human and Valkyrie pioneers work together, the crystal pulsed with warm approval. In its light, they could see the equations that would guide them forward, not just as allies or friends, but as a new form of life itself, born from the marriage of two ways of thinking about the universe. The mathematics had brought them together. The mathematics had transformed them, and the mathematics would lead them onward, into a future where the distinction between calculation and consciousness, between number and nature, between human and alien, would fade into the greater equation of existence itself. In the end, they had not just solved the mathematical crisis, they had become part of the solution, part of the ongoing calculation that was life itself. And in that achievement, both species had found something greater than survival. They had found transcendence.